In the 16th century, a man called Nyikango conquered a narrow strip of territory along the Nile. According to local history, he united the various groups living there into one people, and they became known as the Shilluk. Today, although their territory is part of the modern Sudan, the dynasty founded by Nyikango still rules from the royal capital, Fashoda. Protocol sets the royal capital apart from other villages. Nobody can keep chickens here. Women may not give birth. Visitors should take off their shoes and lay down their spears. And there's even a special court language for speaking with the Ret, or king. Every morning, people arrive in Fashoda to seek an audience with the Ret. Etiquette requires them to bring a gift, money or a cow, for example. They arrive early and must be prepared to wait under the watchful gaze of the Ret's bodyguard. This man, Ayang will be the 33rd Ret. The previous Ret died 8 months ago. Ayang has been chosen by the senior chief to be his successor. But he has not yet been installed. The spirit of Nyikango must first take possession of him. Ayang must become the embodiment of the founder of the Shilluk. Traditional Shilluk see the Ret as a person around whom their lives revolve. It's the divine presence of Nyikango in the Ret which is supposed to give them their purpose for living. And they still trace their roots by reference to the social order established by Nyikango. When a Ret dies, the country enters a period of instability and uncertainty. At the death of a king, the spirit of Nyikango disappears into the Nile, and the Shilluk say the world is lost. And the world is not fully regained for them until the spirit of Nyikango has come to shore in the person of the new Ret. Some months after the death of the previous king, the priests of this village in the north fetch Nyikango from the Nile. They then remake this image of him and also one of his tall warrior son, Dak. The priests will parade the effigies made of bamboo and ostrich feathers through the villages of Shilluk, retracing the movements of Nyikango and Dak in their conquest of the north of the country. Finally, they'll reach the center. Nyikango will capture the Ret-elect and install him as his representative. But the effigies and the priests cannot begin their journey until all the other preparations are ready. For example, ivory, silver, beads, spears and skins have to be collected for the Ret-elect, each by the particular village made responsible for the task by Nyikango. Tomorrow, these men in the southernmost district of the country will go to hunt the antelopes whose skins will adorn the king and other officials on the final day of his installation.
wala tiang dil man obi dung ki una bi jara jaila itu wa da ba kwa kala ki kan ya kala lo ulai gengul ke bakanga mo bai ke mual pau nam ke sa abir yonus
The chief who has called the young men for the hunt has also arranged a dance. This island in the middle of the Nile is a sanctuary for the very rare yek antelopes. When Nyikango stopped here on his journey of conquest, he thought them animals of the greatest beauty, and they've been reserved for royalty ever since. Shilluk commoners are forbidden to hunt them, except these particular villages, before the installation of a new rep. They did eventually succeed in spearing the required number of antelopes. And the chief of the area will take the skins to Pashoda, where they will be kept along with the other precious objects ready for the installation. The Reth-elect waits in the royal capital for the different villagers to fulfill their ritual obligations, meanwhile attending to their disputes.
Calling me out in what I was job, when you move out here. I wear a job, I job on your damn. He be a vine. I wear a white young man idea and I know down. I think I do. I don't Padana. Where are you? Oh, young you there. We are one. Well, I don't want to move. I don't want to lead more. No, with a job and war. Oh, and another movie. I wear the job fighter. Yao, where go back. Kunaka. Although it's a banana walk on Yakado, can you call it? I would depend on that young and a young dog and you get it. Young, Yaka. Kalaka the year. Cow quick away me. Yeah, what have I me? Yaban. You know me, you can have it. Well,
the installation starts when the effigies of Nyikango and Dak begin their 10-day journey towards Collo. Dak, the tall warrior son, paves the way, while Nyikango follows. Just as, according to Shilluk history, Dak led the military raids, while Nyikango organized the people into one political unit. Wherever they pass, the people flock to pay homage to the founders of their nation. In every village, a shrine is prepared to receive them. While Nyikango rests inside, Dak comes out to dance and cleanse those who ask for blessing. The people sing the praises of Nyikango and Dak in songs which record their exploits. The journey is a time of spiritual renewal, part of the regeneration of the whole nation that is the essence of the installation. No one should stare at Dak or let him come too close to them. The priests with their hippo whips clear a path for him. The installation of the new ref will reaffirm the social order and the political identity of the Shilluk, a nation made up of competing localities. The people feel disorder threatens them until Nyikango has possessed the king-to-be. So, men must not carry spears, only stalks from the maize fields. And then they are safe to boast of the military might of their own villages and to issue challenges to others. Every Shilluk is a soldier of Nyikango, and all the villagers mount a guard of honor for the effigies as they escort them through their locality. Like the crusading soldiers in medieval Europe, the Shilluk saw an intimate connection between military prowess against outsiders and spiritual strength. Historically, they extended their territory by military raids against neighboring tribes. More recently, in the 19th century, they had to defend themselves against slave traders. Today there's peace, but the conflicts of the past have not been forgotten. The journey takes the form of a pilgrimage, retracing the movements of Nyikango. The priest must stop wherever he stopped, even if it's only to commemorate a tree under which he shaded himself from the heat of the day. Any pause creates an opportunity for the elders to challenge a rival village.
Ayang binde ko da no kiriya ngi o ko de wa te ma fa no ko ringa ya yo ko du ko le ngan e ko de wa di u ka le yo ma fa do bo nya ti ra ko wo ka wa cha do ka do ya la bi kel fa mo nya abanyen ba ke no du ya la ngan ka le ya ko ka bo te war kel nya ya la bi kel wa la Papa que no nyutano ya bu nyeki ya ba kada kala pia na wese ba kada kan.
In the old days, the Reth led the Shilluk in war and was the final arbiter of their disputes. Today, his role as chief judge has been formalized by the Sudanese government into that of second-class magistrate. But perhaps his most important function was to serve as a focus of political loyalty and national identity. And that he continues to be today. Nyikango and Jack near the end of their 80-mile journey towards Bushel. One of the last villages they honor is the village where the late Reth is buried. His widows pay homage to Nyikango by singing the funeral lament which praises their late husband. After a 10-day journey, the effigies of Nyikango and Jack approach the royal capital. They will halt at Adult, a village 3 miles to the north of Fashoda. Here they will prepare for their capture of the Reth-elect. On his part, the Reth-elect shows his fear of Nyikango by retreating under cover of night to Dibala, a village 3 miles to the south of Fashoda. At this stage, people from the north, by tradition, gather to support Nyikango, and people from the south to support the Reth-elect. After 3 days, the two will meet in a mock battle, which is the dramatic climax of the installation. Just before his flight to Dibalo, Ayang changed his Shilluk bodyguard for a bodyguard of government police. He decided that in the modern world, he needed more than spears to protect him. Traditionally, the Reth-elect's stay in Dibalo is considered a time of particular danger to him. 3 families hold the kingship in turn, and the 33rd Reth can only come from Ayang own family. One of his brothers would automatically replace him should he be killed or even slightly wounded before his acceptance by Nyikango. There was a rumor that one of them was planning to kill him. It was also said that Ayang wanted to look like a modern leader. On the Reth-elect's first evening in Dibala, the chiefs of the southern Shilluk gathered to greet him formally. But things were beginning to go wrong, perhaps because people were afraid of the government police. They were not Shilluk, and were naturally enough unaware of Shilluk custom. After the greetings to the Reth, a man from a particular clan should spear the bull, but there was nobody from the clan present. Eventually, a Land Rover was sent to fetch the missing man, and the bull was killed. But things went from bad to worse. That night, the chiefs did not sleep in Dabalo as custom requires they should. It was alleged that the government police chased them away. Eventually, Kranyureth Bol, the most knowledgeable of all the chiefs and the master of ceremonies, arrived from Pushoda to sort things out.
Una ko gen fa be ke te ko un u ko re ja o ga ko gen di me ko mo to di ko di kun o go ko ni gen ga ya pa be le pa ni ko be de pa ni ja bu ge ko me le be le pa ni ko be ja be danan u go nyo ke na bo me ja mo nu kan je te ga kieta Ubi be cool. They believe are you dear? Are you come? Are you queer? Fine. Kija. Then a young talk. That booth cooler, a billion. You more limit. Yeah, did you go at this? Then a yard. But what? Yin mong bugin like you call ye came a chatty fell care to bugin the young one in the fight and in the other worker. But I didn't in the fight. Therefore, look in the fight don't care who go coming who go home who call you. The Lucia Jogaga Lucia, the boy, Gina come a jar compete for the dear comment. I'm not again. You come here now. So, Jack, I'm not again. Your feet. Can you very good? Yeah, we don't do. You come work out, Benjamin. You don't do. They can do. I'm not going to get Ghana Kubaman. Then you could have Kuba on a shot. Cut talking. When I follow, I think it's bad. Yes, and I'm out. Yes, we want to come here, go burn. Yes, I'm going to you almost will get when I you go with the boy. That will be when I put a boy by me with the job. That will be that will be that will take a burn. That can kill my young we can be the job. Let you go again. I can't the job. I'll talk here. Oh, go back in the bin. My cooking don't jump. Jalka. You cover you go. Two drop. What will you come? He yard, another one. Okay, the car. Beginning, it shall come. My youth is a picture. My elder on a fight. Because you need to go on the go on. When I go for Kalia, Ogalima, Kaloquini, you very fan, quid or Kakaja. Uri for queering. When I beg again, then I judge. I die.
Eventually, the chiefs managed to organize the necessary preparations, and on the fourth morning of his stay in Dabalo, the Reth-elect supporters from the southern Shilluk began to congregate. Everything was ready for the Reth's departure, except for a few details of protocol which had to be settled by the senior chief. The ref must step over a goat on leaving his temporary home, and the man whose duty it is to hold the goat seems hesitant. Perhaps he hasn't been given the right present. And on leaving Debala, the ref-elect has to step over a bull. It's important that it's facing in the right direction.
أنا ما بسمح لك أبوش. أنا ما بسمح واحد أبوش.
Meanwhile, Nyikango and his supporters have left their temporary resting place 3 miles to the north of Poshoda and are marching towards the ref-elect. Gradually, the gap between the two closes. The supporters of the ref-elect will halt at a dry river bed believed to mark the very center of Shilluk country, just outside Poshoda. Its name means unity of the people. Nyikango's army is already drawn up on the other side. Chickens are considered troublesome creatures, and one is held up, perhaps to remind Ayang of all the troublesome people he will have to tolerate. An advance party of Nyikango's army gives the ref-elect a cow to step over as he crosses the dry river bed. Finally, a messenger runs back and forth between the ref-elect and Nyikango, carrying messages of scorn between the two. Nyikango taunts the ref-elect by saying that he's angry and will never permit him to enter Poshoda. The Reth-elect replies that not even Nyikango can frighten him. When the ritual abuse is over, the mock battle can begin. The two armies edge closer to each other, and Nyikango and Dak begin their final advance towards the Reth-elect. Dak captures the Reth-elect and hands him over to Nyikango. At the same moment, the two armies begin to hurl their stalks of maize at each other. The battle is a ritual drama whose outcome is predetermined. It involves the whole population in a mock conflict which reinforces the theme of the ceremony, the unity of the Shilluk nation. Reths are honored not primarily because of their own qualities, but because of the office they hold in direct line from Nyikango. The followers of Nyikango always defeat the followers of the Reth. The office is more powerful than the man. Nyikango leads the Reth off to his shrine in Shilluk. Here, screened from the gaze of the people, the Reth will be possessed by Nyikango, whose spirit will enter into him. The effigy returns to the shrine. Water is poured over the new Reth, perhaps in the hope that the rains will be plentiful during his rule. The spiritual climax over, the political finale remains. The Reth spends 2 nights in these 4 houses. He is bathed and shaved, and then dressed up in the silver bracelets, ivory armbands, and antelope skins. On the final day, the chiefs and the senior elders gather beneath the mound. Each chief rises in turn to advise the rest. This is the last time that they can speak their minds to him. The chief of Nyaba.
Anan tianga bi bero nyin anan ga da juro adu wora wor kenya donga bi ka wa ke ma nyi dong ne yor yi moy do bi mi nyara go donga bi ka wa ka ben de ne ben ne ka wa nyi chang a ma wa nyi da ko ba nen bi do me yi ba da me ka pa nya kwa ka yu do ka yang pa ka ba me a pa na me ching ta bu gi na nya le de ka lo yu cha ka mang la no kwai do cha ma do because ui rocky there ya dòng mà cái nút mà cái sự thuộc mà như bên ngoài nè nó cái đó có kìa.
Chief of Noon.
Chắc là bia, đi vào nhà mình. Cái mình đi đến đâu vậy? Hay lúc quay đến là. Để bây giờ begin. Wow, nè này, wow luôn, nè này. Để bây giờ, bây giờ bu alo jibu đi cả rồi. Mà chung cái, có gì thế? Ở trên in, cái này bằng, có gì thế? Ở này bằng gì? Mấy cái chuyện chắc cái nhang, ôi chú mà cái boy mi, nhang với một cái deal bên, lấy cái gì mà cái đuôi mà đuôi, thì mình lo cái này, cái đó này, cái four boy, à đâu, ai bây giờ cái này, đã nó cái nhang, như thôi, đã cái nào cũng
The last two to speak are the chief of the extreme north and the chief of the extreme south. In the old days, they were the protectors of the country's frontiers. The chief of Momo.
Now I become doja. Da gini ma kopi bogan. Gini nga nyityo. Gini pe nyawan awan, lo de ka nanen. Lo da ben ka yidi ken tak. Bu gini ma doy. Mek ba wat. Mek right. De la gi kopi. Bu gi ci dina wana wan ni nga nyin. O wadu way du kanat. Ko ngat right. Ana ben bu idan. Dirija. Otol bi. Uyo ko jam da kwai. Kimi mira golle dey. Kimi na wayi jet. Puli jet. Yari bodi jet. Jaga ka. Daga.
the chief of Tonga.
Ayang. Ayang. You know it. Do it. But I knew you. I said it. I didn't go check. About it. Can I know very young? You might do a cover check. Then I get a cover. Then I am getting you. Well, when I cover it, when I let it go, when could you? Go on with it. Well, if I can go, well, I'm going. Rumah, a very room. Who by it? Who by the I'm not need to go with the kind of loud. My opinion, and I need to back again. Can you call me George? Yeah. Whether you call here, can you have a fun? And are you on your teeth? You are on your teeth. You could look at. You could just. Dan, bukan malai. Dan tuam, jaga tuam. Tuam, lengi madukun. Kai lengi madukun. Apa ini? Baru peri, ngalku.
Finally, the ref rises to reply.
Then who are you for? Bugiraja Bungan Banana go on. And I would have put your taboo and think fire and then oh, but when you get a can get Kaja to a gay face. Or do you get a can get Kaja gay face? That's what I would have think fire. Then I'm going to you. I've got to get in your port. Oh, you are. Can I tell you, get Yalan? Kamu ni mau ni tiok, kamu ni tiok anak gini jual kau bergen. Tanya tahu kan dah ni macam tu. Dah cuma makan aja.
In his speech, Ayang threatened to stamp out the purveyors of modern ideas which challenge his traditional authority. Today, several Shilluk are ministers and high officials in the government of the Sudan. Like their government, they want to bring greater development, education and democracy to the country. Ayang must be aware that this will inevitably lead to a decline in his own power and prestige. The increase in educational opportunities is already affecting the traditional social order, based as it is on inherited rank. But Shilluk identity is intricately bound up with Nyikango, and, as his representative, the Reth will continue to provide a unique focus of meaning for his people, for some time to come.
More in the news these days for its civil war and terrorist activities. You can always trust the Global Village to shine a light on good stories from even the darkest corners of the world. In the decades of civil war, one tribe, the Shilluk, has managed to stay neutral thanks to their wise king Kuong Dak. Instead of a tooth for tooth, the Shilluk have always championed calmer means of maintaining peace and achieving justice. A tradition of truth and reconciliation has always worked wonderfully for the king of the Shilluk tribe.
Once upon a time, there was a king who lived in a country ravaged by war. He was a wise king who loved his people and always strived to protect them from the violence that tore neighboring tribes. He was the king of the Shilluk. For 30 years, the Christian and animist tribes of the south and the government-backed Muslims of the north fought a deadly war in Sudan. The Shilluk managed to remain neutral and keep their Reth, or king. Today, His Majesty Kuong Dak, the current ruler of the Shilluk kingdom, is in Yomo, listening to his subjects' grievances outside his hut, as he does every day throughout his kingdom. He's a king of much wisdom. The people of Alalul are lucky. The White Nile, only 20 minutes away, is a source of riches in short supply in most villages. Water, of course, and fish. During the war, there was intense fighting on the other side of the river, and for a long time the fishermen of Alalul had to keep away from the water. When peace was restored in September 2002, the riverbanks became safer. When the sun is at its hottest, The women gather under the shade of the acacia and have a chat. The Shilluk have always championed peace and justice. The village square is today the scene of an unusual ceremony. A goat, a gift from the king, symbolizes a man murdered by his neighbor. Each participant in turn expresses his rancor by talking to the animal and to the spirits of the ancestors.
Nyikango, Kijok, a Kobe, Kapatinga, Nagregan, can you chiam Gagachel, Danyata? Da Kung Megan, a Guok, Kapokin, Ugichiamgan, or Dan Chogabata.
The families of the victim and of the murderer are reconciled through the sacrificial killing and sharing of the royal goat. Kodok, the tribe's economic center, is a large village with a population of a few thousand on the banks of the Nile. Through it transit all the goods bought and sold by the 500,000 Shilluk living in Sudan. The wall of a house bears the name of a French man, Jean-Baptiste Marchand, a captain on a colonizing mission in Sudan at the end of the 19th century. After 3,000 adventurers kilometer the continent, Marchand's Congo-Nile expedition ended here in Kodok. Jean-Baptiste Marchand is remembered as an ally by the Shilluks, whom he freed from enslavement by an enemy tribe. For this, the Shilluk have always been grateful to the French officer. In this hut, old Onioti, aged 101, lives a quiet, peaceful life. According to Onioti, his father knew the captain well. Before reminiscing, he prays to the God introduced to him by English missionaries a long time ago.
Alamsar, Kadag Poton. I take being an Alamsar, I hear the Poton. I hear the Gokuna Ben. I do go to the king. A peg a pin. Deutsche argument wrong. Bedwoga Alamsar. Na Ben a better what the young kid, Tiangachwalonga rap. Bedwoga Alamsar and I you want.
Like most Shilluk, Onioti likes France.